Welcome to Dom's Corner, everybody, where we talk about all things dealing in the world of entertainment and a little bit of life, too. I'm your host, Dom Martino, and we have some pretty cool topics that I want to get into today. Obviously, one of the bigger stories going around right now is that Shang-Chi will be starting its production in July, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But for right now, the first thing I want you guys to do is hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, all these things that I have to say. And also, I put my Twitter and Instagram in the description below, so be sure to follow me there as well. So I got some news stories sent to me, and I'm going to start with those. Here we go. Let's pull these up here, and we'll get straight into these. So that way, I'm not wasting too much time. All right, let's see what we got here. Sorry about that. I'm trying to pull these up. Okay, so the first big one is this. This is a really interesting headline here. Okay, so let's see. We got Walmart is transforming 160 of its parking lots into drive-in theaters. I think that this is kind of smart. They might have to. And speaking of drive-in theaters, I was able to go to a drive-in theater this week. It was the first time I'd been to a theater in a good long while. And I was pretty thrilled about that. I was able to see Jaws and Jurassic Park for the first time ever in the movie theater. And let me tell you guys, it was awesome. To me, it's like seeing these movies for the first time. You know, I like to put myself in reset mode in a way, and as if I've never seen these movies before, and I can almost experience what it was like for people to see these when they first come out in the theater. And it was very, very cool, very different experience to have seen those in the theater. And man, two of the greatest movies of all time, two of my personal favorite movies of all time. Yeah, so that was awesome. So this is kind of exciting. Okay, so let's read into this. This comes from CNN. Two of the most classic pieces of Americana are coming together this summer, drive-in theaters and Walmart. Beginning in August, the retailer is converting 160 of its U.S. store parking lots into drive-in movie theaters. As the pandemic continues, drive-in theaters have been making a comeback as a safe alternative to the traditional movie theaters that remain closed in much of the country. Walmart is partnering with Tribeca Enterprises, the Robert De Niro-backed media company, to program the film's locations, and movie titles haven't yet been announced, but they will be revealed later on a special website. The event will run through October and encompass more than 300 showings. This family friend night will include hit movies, special appearances from filmmakers and celebrities, and concessions delivered right to customer vehicles. Walmart said in a press release, Walmart will use the nearby physical stores to let people use curbside pickup for treats and food. Drive-in movie venues have been popping up all over the country, with small business owners forced temporarily to shut down their traditional theater operations, opting to reopen old drive-in locations or build makeshift theaters in parking lots in a bid to make up for lost income. So yeah, I think that this is a really cool and really kind of smart idea, and pretty cool Walmart to partner with Tribeca. Obviously, Tribeca Film Festival is a really huge deal. Yeah, sounds like it's going to be like a one night only thing, which is kind of a bummer. It'd be cool to, but I can understand it. You can't take up the parking lot every night in Walmart to do this, but yeah, setting these things up in different parking lots actually might not be a bad idea, and maybe a really cool way to release some of these newer blockbusters. We'll see. But with everything going on with the pandemic, we might not have another choice in order to keep the movie business alive, because I don't think theaters are going to be able to stay in business by themselves. So I really think this would be smart. And it's a good test to see how many people turn up, And if it does really well, then we might see kind of a revolution in how we watch movies, from here on out. And that's all I really want to come out of this pandemic. If there's anything that's going to be positive for the movie world, I mean, obviously, I want to see that people are okay first and foremost. But in the movie world specifically, I want to see maybe we revolutionize the way that we go and see movies. I mean, maybe theaters aren't going to be the big thing anymore. Well, they will be, but it's going to be a different type of theater. Now, the outdoor theater might be the new way to go. Obviously, weather conditions will affect that. Maybe they start opening up like these domes. You know what I mean? Like, we've had IMAX forever. I mean, maybe it's time to just do something even bigger. Something where we can park our cars. But we'll see. There is something about the IMAX experience that's unforgettable and unreal. And they may still have them, but they're going to be a rarity, I think. And we need to figure out a way to revolutionize the way we watch movies. I think that's a big thing that's going to come out of this. More than likely. So we'll see, and I really do hope that it happens. We need to figure something out here because there's so many new releases that are big blockbuster movies that the industry really relies on, and they're all being put on the back burner. Wonder Woman 84, Black Widow, Tenet, all these movies are being put on the back burner. Venom 2, Fast and Furious 9, any upcoming Star Wars projects, forget it for the next 5 to 6 years, I'm thinking, we'll see. But yeah, Avatar 2, all these things are being put on the back burner right now. So we'll see what happens, and I'm hoping for a positive outcome for the film industry, and I think that they will figure it out. I can't imagine a world where the film industry just dies. It would be terrible. So we will figure it out. And I also can't imagine a world where we're just watching movies on VOD. A lot of the movie industry relies on the movie theater money, and I don't think VOD is going to be the way to go from here on out. That said, let's get to our next story, which is Shang-Chi. This is kind of the big one going around today, and basically I'll just go off of what I've heard, which is essentially that Shang-Chi is going to be shooting in Australia in July, and this is very smart. I think Shang-Chi is one of the Marvel projects I'm looking forward to most. I remember seeing the guy that's going to play Shang-Chi at I think it was the San Diego Comic-Con panel that they had, and he just seems like a charismatic fella. It's kind of, I always like when we can bring new characters into the MCU, and he seems like one that's going to be a big appeal. And it's going to be a big deal for the Asian film community as well. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to Shang-Chi. I'm glad they found a way to get shooting again. When will be released, we'll see. But at least they could say we're gonna have the project done. You know what I mean? So they can kind of be the first ones out of the gate, maybe in the new MCU lineup, outside of Black Widow, of course, because that is done. So that's really interesting. So, what I wanted to break down here today, guys, is this really, really fun topic, or what could be a fun topic. And let me get to this article here. I am pulling these up from my phone because the last couple times I tried to pull up the internet from my laptop here, it crashed the stream. So not going to use the laptop for a bit. So let's see what we got going on here. Okay, so this is an article from Screen Rant, and I just thought it would be fun. It's the 10 best actor director debuts. So these are actors that became directors, and these are the best their best directorial debuts of actors, basically. So we got, okay, number 10 is Dennis Hopper Easy Rider, which I've actually never seen. Let's see. Dennis Hopper's directorial debut has been long seen as a countercultural classic and as a movie that defined a generation. Released in the summer that became synonymous with the death of the golden age of Hollywood. Easy Rider is the story of two bikers on a road trip across the U.S. Hopper shot the film using a loose, improvised, and for the time a highly unconventional style with less focus on narrative and more on emotion and style, a technique that became a hugely popular later in the 1970s. Yeah, they talk about like movies like Chinatown too. Uh, Not Chinatown Part Two. I don't know that there is one, but Chinatown also is kind of one of those movies where it's kind of like style over substance, you know. Um, and I have not seen Easy Rider. I know, shameful. I should probably watch it. It's got Dennis Hopper and Jack Nicholson and the Fonda guy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, or which Fonda it was. But yeah, that's one I gotta see. Um, He's Peter Fonda's in that. Anyway, but yeah, that's kind of one of the first style over substance type movies, and they talk about a movie like Chinatown is kind of like that. One of the horror movies that I can think of more recently that to me went style over substance, and some of the style was really cool. I unfortunately think it needed more substance. Was the Strangers Pray at Night movie? I think that went kind of style over substance for sure. And um, I remember hearing Edward Norton talk about his not direct. I don't think it's his directorial debut, or maybe it is. Um, but I heard Edward Norton talk about his recent movie he directed, Motherless Brooklyn, where he was kind of going on like he wanted it to be one of these movies that you're not really gonna know what it's about, but it looks cool. You know what I mean? It's style over substance, and I guess that's kind of the deal with Easy Rider. Um, let's see what we got here. We got number 9 out of 10, Liev Schreiber. I had no idea he directed a movie. Hold on, guys. I lost the article. God damn it. Um, Excuse me while I try to find this again. Oh, here it is. Okay, cool. You got Liev Schreiber. I like Liev Schreiber. I didn't know he directed anything. And now we're frozen. Okay. His movie was, if I can get it back up. Everything is Illuminated. Liev Schreiber's directorial debut is seriously impressive and it's balancing, emotion and comedy given the film's subject matter. Elijah Wood plays Jonathan Safran Foer in this semi-autobiographical film of a Jewish American man traveling to Ukraine to locate the woman who saved his grandfather during the Holocaust. On the way, he meets bigotry and eccentric eccentricity eccentricity, there we go, sorry, to upsetting and hilarious effect respectively. That almost rhymed. It was like a poem in that synopsis. Schreiber hasn't made another film since, but with this, he demonstrates his skill and sensitivity many full-time directors strive for. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I had no idea. 8 out of 10. Ooh, yeah, this one should probably go in the top 10. Is Jonah Hill for mid 90s? Yeah, Jonah Hill. I don't even have to read the thing on that. Mid 90s is a really, really incredible directorial debut from an actor. Um, yeah. Um, Jonah Hill's mid 90s. That's one of these movies that just it captures a time period, and it tells a story while doing so. But it's kind of those like 90s I actually own the movie. It's like the 90s skate era, kind of punk skater era. And it captures that time so very well. I would think most people who are familiar with that era would enjoy that. And it's not a skate movie, it just captures that time period, you know what I mean? It's like skating is kind of it's a character piece, but skating is kind of like in the mix. Um yeah, really, really good. And the kid who played Sonny something, is the actor's name. He's so good in that movie. Like really, really good. Yeah, that movie blew me away when I saw it. A couple years back. Highly recommend. It's a character-driven story, but it's like the skating is like kind of in the mix of it too. But it definitely like does a great job at capturing that time period. And it's kind of a simple story. Um, Kenneth Branagh, Henry V. I've heard about this and I have not seen it. Kenneth Branagh became just such a great director on his own though. He did the Mary Shelley movie, the Frankenstein movie. Um, Thor he did a great job with Thor, I thought. And also one of my favorites, and I thought was one of the most underrated movies. I think in 2016 is when it came out. Was Murder on the Orient Express. I thought he did a tremendous bang up job on that movie and a bang up acting job. I think the performance is great. It's visually great to look at, and it's really a cool experience of a movie. And a lot of people really didn't like it. They preferred the original. The original is good, but I think Branagh kind of added his own style to it that the original didn't have. It's not that it was necessarily better, it just was great within itself. Added this whole new style to it and was very true to the book. Yeah, I loved Murder on the Orient Express is my. I haven't seen Henry V, mind you, but Murder on the Orient Express, uh, to me, is his best film. That I've seen. So highly recommend that. That was a really, really good movie with a lot of style, and he gives a hell of a performance in there. I'm glad it's getting a sequel at some point, Death on the Nile, where he's going to be playing the same character. And I think he's also directing the sequel. Um, okay, 6 out of 10. Yes, I would have to agree. This has to go into the top 10. Is Bradley Cooper for Stars Born? Yeah, that's one of these things that just blows you away when you see it. Really, really blows you away. He directed the hell out of that movie, and it looks good. It's got a real raw feel to it. He performs well in it, and he really knew how to make A Star Is Born his own thing. He learned, to my knowledge, how to play the guitar for the movie. It's incredible what he was able to do with that film. So yeah, it's a high. It might not be better than any of the movies on the list necessarily, but it's definitely, well, I could at least say it's better than the mid '90s movie. But it's definitely just for what he was able to achieve, worth putting on this list. He put his heart and soul into that movie. It was clearly a passion project, and um, they made like 6 Stars Borns, and that everybody says that the most modern is the best one, um, and that's rare, so that's important. Yes, number 5 has to go on the list as well. Jordan Peele's Get Out. Jordan Peele for Get Out. Yeah, I don't know. Jordan Peele was an actor, but Jordan Peele was more to me like he acted before, but he was more big for being a comedian. You know what I mean? But yeah, Get Out was surprising as hell. Um, he makes this horror thriller type deal, and it has a message behind it, and a very strong one. And it's a really entertaining movie while having that. Um, yeah, Get Out definitely needs to be on that list. That is one of the best movies of the last 10 years, easily. Not the best, one of the best. He really kind of, made his own brand of horror film with that. Yeah, it was really incredible to see what he was able to do with that movie. It's a movie that was unpredictable, which is important, and surprising, and really had just had a strong message behind it. Had good performances all the way throughout. Good looking movie. Yeah. So I Get Out, it definitely needs to be on this list. Even though I don't know, like I said, I feel like Jordan Peele. That's more just he was a comedian, but I don't know if I call him like an act. He acted, so I guess it counts. Yeah. Ooh, yes, definitely needs to be on the list. Number 4 out of 10. They got Robert De Niro for A Bronx Tale. Yeah. Bronx Tale. I think we brought this up when I was doing the movies that came out in my birth year. Um, yeah, Bronx Tale is just an incredible story, incredible movie. Um, and De Niro really directed that well. You could tell he picked up a lot of tricks from Martin Scorsese. He wanted to kind of tell one of those types of stories like a Goodfellas. It was almost like if he took um, the beginning of Goodfellas and like expanded on that. Not the exact same story, and or not about the exact same people, but that kind of like tone that happens at the beginning of Goodfellas when you see Ray Liotta as a child. He wanted to kind of take that aspect and like expand on it, you know. Um, in a way, that's just like the tone it sets, and it's just such a good movie though, and I highly recommend that movie. Uh, yeah, we talked about that a little bit when I was doing the movies that came out in my birth year, and that's definitely worth checking out if you haven't, and definitely worth being on this list. I agree 100%. Kevin Costner Dances with Wolves needs to be on this list as well. It's number 3. Um, yeah, just it's an achievement of a movie. Not one of my favorites. Not gonna lie to you, I don't hate the movie. I don't even dislike the movie, but it's not one of my favorites. But yeah, just what he was able to achieve in the movie is worth talking about all on its own. So there's that. So that's yeah, definitely worth being on there. It's a visually stunning movie. It's an epic essentially, and it's a very long movie. Um, so I mean, yeah, but it's still he was able to do a lot, and it's a great looking movie at the very least. Dances with Wolves. Um, so let's talk about number 2, which yes needs to be on this. Is Billy Bob Thornton for Sling Blade. I love Sling Blade. I don't think Billy Bob Thornton will ever even have a better performance than Sling Blade. We all heard the story where Scorsese said, "Enjoy your Oscar." He called him up after seeing the movie and said, "Enjoy your Oscar, because it may not come around again," or something like that. And I believe he did win Best Actor that year. I don't know if it won Best Picture, but I think Billy Bob did win Best Actor. He might have won Best Director. He did an incredibly bang up job on that movie. And I think it's one of the benefits that we see time and time again when actors get to direct their own project is they get to expand their own range, right? Like because they're writing a character for themselves and directing their own character, and so they're a little bit more in control about how much range they can show on the screen, right? Um, but on the same hand, it's all kind of got to fit into the overall vision, right? And it's got to stay balanced and feel right in the movie that they're making. And it's got to fit the tone. And I think it's just a really hard task to take on to want to kind of show yourself off. While also showing off your acting chops, while also showing off your directing chops, and I think in the case of Billy Bob Thornton and Bradley Cooper and those are guys who just did an incredible job doing that. And yeah, yeah, it's really incredible what some of these people can do. They're definitely multifaceted, Uh, and a lot of people will say it's like, so of course they gave themselves a great performance. They directed it. Yeah, and that's probably going to be true, but was the movie good? And did that performance fit with the movie, you know? Um and like I said, Billy Bob Thornton and Bradley Cooper definitely were able to show off their acting chops while also making two incredible films. Sling Blade and A Star Is Born is definitely incredible movies. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. And yeah, man, I love those movies. Um, Charlie Lawton, The Night of the Hunter. I've never seen this movie. I think I was told to watch this by somebody recently, though. Interesting. Let's read about it. Not just a fantastic debut, but one of the greatest films ever made. Charles Lawton, who had made his name as a leading man in Hollywood, then made one of the darkest films of the era, really, in an iconic performance from highly menacing Robert Mitchum, a corrupted minister, threatens and bullies a widow into revealing a hidden cache of money. Full suspense that is effective to this day. This film is a stunning example of his powers of film noir and was almost unique at the time of its release. Hmm. Yeah, that sounds really intriguing. I'm gonna have to check that out, to be honest. Night of the Hunter, Charles Lawton. Okay, I'm in. That synopsis was all I needed. I'm definitely gonna check this film out. Sounds cool. It's from '55. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Uh, I love '50s movies. I really do. Um, one of the best '50s movies of all. One of my favorite movies of all time, I should say, is from the '50s. It's Seventh Seal. Um, Yeah. So I honestly though, yeah, that just sounded really amazing. Um. So yeah. So I wanted to kind of open this up into a discussion. And you guys, please put in the comment section an actor who directed a movie and just did a hell of a job. It didn't even have to be their first. It didn't even have to be their debut. I just want to hear ideas on what were some of your favorite, movies that were also directed by an actor. It didn't even have to be their first one. Like one of mine, for example, is John Krasinski for A Quiet Place. Right, like he just came out and knocked it out of the park with that movie and did something that was very against the grain of what you would think would be the John Krasinski brand. I mean, he was kind of expanding his roles and his range at the time anyway, but he really went against the grain of what you think somebody like a John Krasinski can do. But yeah, his direct not debut, he had done a movie before, but yeah, A Quiet Place was an incredible movie that was done by an actor. He also starred in the movie and gave a great performance in the movie. Um, and really made one of the best horror films of the decade, And yeah, he came out of the gate pretty strong. I mean, with that one, and yeah, so that's one really good example, and I would really like to hear what you guys would have to say as far as a movie that was made by an actor that you really really loved. I would really have to think about that though too. Hmm, actors, movies made by actors. I'm blanking on it, or movies directed by actors, I should say, and I'm really really blanking on that. Um, oh, Rob Reiner uh, is a good example of just an actor who became a director who had a span of incredible films. Speaking of Reiner, Carl Reiner. Oh my gosh, R.I.P. Carl Reiner. Incredible talent. I almost forgot to bring this up. Yeah, Carl Reiner did pass away. That's very sad. He was an incredible talent and made us laugh quite a bit on screen, and it's so unfortunate to lose him. But what an incredible life that he led. So just wanted to send out the condolences to anybody that was close to Carl Reiner and family members. But uh, so sad. Moving back into Rob Reiner though, an actor who directed movies who had an incredible career directing. Um, Princess Bride. This is Spinal Tap is a classic to a lot of people, and Stand by Me, Misery. He's really had an incredible career in terms of directing. He's done a great job with all that. I can't really think of a lot off the top of my head though, which sucks because I know a lot of them have moved into directing lately. There was a movie on Netflix that I wanted to check out. It was a Brie Larson. I think it's her directorial debut. Um, and that was a Unicorn Store, and I still have not watched the movie. Yeah, I heard a lot of actors say that like actor directors are probably really some of the best because they kind of understand how to work with actors, obviously because they had been there and they'd done a great job, and they do a great job working with them. Um, yeah, man. I can't think of a lot. Oh, here's a good one. Came out recently. James Franco, the disaster artist, did an incredible job directing and an incredible job performing in the film. So that's a really good example. I don't know if this counts so much. I was gonna say Kevin Smith, but he kind of started acting because he directed himself in like Clerks, and but he is an actor and a director, so I guess it counts in that sense. Uh, yeah, so there's a lot like that. Ben Affleck. Oh my gosh, almost forgot about Ben Affleck, who's probably one of the best doing it. You know, uh, talk about a great actor director. Gone Baby Gone. The Town is one of my favorite movies. Argo is one of my favorite films of all time. I actually really liked Live by Night, which a lot of people did not enjoy, but The Town and Argo are probably the two best that you would have to see of his that he actually directed. He does a good job directing. Um, yeah, and I can't think of too many more, unfortunately, off the top of my head right now. But I would really like to hear what you guys think. I would like to open that up to a discussion. Maybe I'll comment on some of those on next week's show. And by the way, I do have to apologize because I said I would have a show on Tuesday, and just everything just went to shit, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's a story for another time. I mean, basically things came up. And there was technical issues because I tried to have one on Wednesday, then I tried to have one on Thursday, and technical stuff that I have gotten fixed now. Finally, I also want to point out that I am aware that the audio was cutting in and out on the last show. Where we honored Joel Schumacher, and that sucks, and I'm sorry about that, but I have also found a fix for that. So that won't be happening anymore either. And as long as we can stay off of the internet while we do these on this laptop, the stream will no longer crash, and we will no longer have to edit these and hit film. So that is also very, very good news. So just wanted to give my apologies for the mistakes that we've made here on the stream, and I'm going to end it now. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter and Facebook, and do all that below. Also, leave your feedback in the comments section. Comment on your favorite movies directed by actors. And I will see you guys on next Tuesday. And I thank you for joining in. Bye bye.